especially Oprah. I think it's interesting. I'm a little bit pragmatic on this, which I think certification isn't going to go away. I mean, as we think about scale in any of the industries that we represent or you represent, there is going to be a balance of certification and competency. What technology does, and you can already see it in, I mean, we have a large franchise focused on teaching and using Microsoft tools. It is all about competency. It allows somebody to immerse themselves in problem sets, not focusing on certification, but how they actually would complete a task in the workplace.
But you're talking about, I'm sorry, proxies for certification, that instead of being in my class, still some sort of external metric, right?
Well, it allows them to go through it. There is an external metric in the form of a grade.
Okay. And Felice, New York Times going to hire me because I read a lot of stuff from J-schools online?
Sure.
Okay, great. I'm in. My mom always wanted me to be a journalist. Sean. Felice, you have a...
I'm sorry.
We'll hire all of you.
I'm going to give Felice a chance to expand on that, if only to protect herself when she gets back to New York. Go ahead, Felice. And I go knocking on the door for a job.
Thank you. I think one of the things that we're seeing in the Epsilon environment that people are using is the ability, when you link an e-portfolio and you link it to courses and group collaboration and peer evaluation and all of those incredibly engaging tools, what you find are that people are beginning to demonstrate and identify artifacts both from their courses, both from their exams, their certifications, but also it goes beyond the classroom. They're able to bring in artifacts that actually demonstrate how they're creating knowledge and meaning. They're taking the work that they're doing in the academic environment, continuing that work of creating knowledge and meaning, and then are able to demonstrate it and share it with the world. And I think that's a critical part. I agree. I don't think certification is going away, but I do think we need to move beyond the ability to certify a fourth grader and then have them start all over again when they're in high school. That it should be a lifelong ability for an individual to show their outcomes.
Demonstrate competence. All right, and Sean, before you go, I'm going to give those of you who are eager, desperate to have at this panel, now is the time to line up behind Bobby because she's holding the mic. Sean.
Yeah, Casey, I'm not sure certification goes away, and to your question,
I want to know how it changes.
I think the part of it that does change is the role of curated content.
Okay.
I believe changes. And Felice referenced it a little while ago. The interesting article that I read about 10 years ago. I can't cite the author because I don't recall it, but you could certainly find it on the internet, called Amateur to Amateur. And it was about the role of the internet in what they called amateur publishing. The whole idea of, can social software get us to the point where if Bill publishes something and Sean has the right ability to search for it on Google, I can find it and we don't have a need for professional curated content any longer. And I don't believe that curated content goes away. We could have
Tell the bloggers that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
It's changing.
It's changing. Okay.
But not every blogger gets read and cited either.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I, as a blogger, I know nobody reads what I write. All right.
Hi.
Please go ahead. You are?
My name is Cordy Rodriguez. I'm with Global Education Technologies, Inc. And I want to commend the panel for everything they've said because I've been an educator for 39 years. But for Ms. Needleman, I want to commend you. Especially because I think you brought out the human factor. I've worked a lot with teachers, and there has to be a lot of immersion for teachers, whether they're young, middle-aged, or been in the industry for a long time. There has to be an opportunity for them to make a cognitive change, a real understanding of the materials that they are using. Because you have the products, you have the technology. I've been introduced to one right here, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to use it in the most appropriate manner. And you have to give them an opportunity to experience it, to be immersed in it, to bring what they've known from their own experiences and integrate it in here. Because the kids that they're teaching at whatever level they are, primarily K through 12, and even at the college level, are way ahead of them.
All right, I don't mean to be rude. Is there a question there?
The question is, Are you going to continue to give teachers an opportunity to have an immersed education of these technological?
Felice, and I'm going to take the liberty from the podium to kind of rephrase that. Isn't the tension really not high tech versus high touch, but tech enabled high touch? Isn't that ultimately what we're talking about on the faculty side?
Yeah, this really is about helping educators do the work of creating knowledge and meaning and utilizing
making the
all
classroom safe for faculty members.
for faculty members and utilizing all the resources at our hand, but making it so that it is fully integrated.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so just to add a point of that, it's, Marvell, we're making this technology available like in low quantities at very affordable prices for teachers to try, for entrepreneurs, for small software companies to try to get these things, spread out, because it's not going to happen all at once.
All right. Next question, please.
My
You
name
are,
is
sir?
Douglas Fajardo. I'm from J. Walter Thompson, and I'm involved in the area of developing mobile applications. And I have a couple of small kids, a 9 and a 10-year-old. And I would like to see a world where all textbooks disappear and they go into a mobile device. I'll use an iPad as an example. And but I would like to understand, for example, from the point of view of the publishers, how fast are they now moving their textbooks into more interactive platforms so that in the future can they live without selling textbooks as hard books as they have them right now?
I'll start, Sean, and then I think you should finish this one. But the reality is today in post-secondary, over 90% of every textbook is available electronically. And many of those are distributed through CourseSmart as well as other folks. So that exists today. I think in terms of the interactivity, if you look at where a lot of the content providers, publishers such as Cengage Learning have gone, in the last 5 years there's been an increase from almost 0 to close to 20% of our business now is focused on something that is beyond the ebook, something that is more interactive, whether it's a homework tool or an assessment. So the world is very much moving that way. But there's the rate limiting factor has been the uptake of those, and I think it goes back to a little bit about what the panel and Casey were saying, which is simply replicating the book, putting that online, which is where we are today, is really insufficient from a student and from a faculty perspective.
Well, and the flip side, sir, is what are you willing to pay for that content?
No, well, in the way that I see it, for example, it's right now you have students, for example, in my case, my kids go to private school, right? So they spend about $700 on textbooks a year.
So you're willing to give that money to Bill anyhow, right?
No. So what I'm saying is, why not have a platform on a mobile device now where you hold, let's say, an app that runs on an app that's a school app, where you have all these interactive books that now function as your textbooks. Your math books, now you can do 4x6, have an open field, have
Great.
the answers.
I'm going to move us along.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
If I could, Casey, before that application does exist. There is an application on the iPad that you can get that's called eTextbooks for the iPad that has 15,000 textbooks in it. And those textbooks are, at this point in time, replicas of the print book, and there's reason why we do that. But there is the ability for anytime, anywhere access today on the iPad.
Okay. Next.
Hi, Carlos Guzman, LA Pierce College. I'm on the tech side. I'm also a faculty member. And one of the things I've noticed is a lot of my students, I promote CourseSmart. The problem arises in the delivery method, because a lot of them want to have an iPad. iPads are starting to show up at left and right. So is the iTouch. But Cengage's CourseSmart software doesn't coincide with that. So a lot of the software, you have to go on a web browser to view that. So that I think from what I'm seeing is that the delivery method is not there yet. So they're applied. You can go log online and see it, but I can't get it on something that's very feasible and easy for me to.
So you're looking for better integration.
Yes.
Okay. And I think what you heard from the panel members is we're going to integrate as fast as we can.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I would simply say we agree.
Anybody against integration
No.
for books or anything else?
You.
All right.
We
But
agree.
I did have one more point on that. On the learning management systems, I use them a lot, and the reason why I use them is tech savvy. But the other point that comes up is a lot of the programs right now, especially the books that Cengage puts out,